Okay, we're rolling.
Cool. So first, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it. Let's start off with the vortexes of Sedona and how you measure them and what you use to measure them with.
Okay, well, we'll back up a little bit. I originally came out here in 1999, and my first trip to Sedona, I saw all of the information that they had on vortex energy. Being an electrical engineer, I decided at that moment that it was just a tourist trap and something for marketing. So I set out on a 10-year venture of designing and building equipment to either prove or disprove vortex energy as it exists in Sedona. I did not believe in its reality. It took me about 2 years to perfect the first series of equipment, and I started doing recordings up here, and lo and behold, I had to eat my words because vortex energy in Sedona is very, very real. Would you like me to explain what it is, how it occurs? Okay. Sedona is very, very extremely red, and the red is due to Fe2O3, which is iron oxide, rust. Now, because you have a lot of the mineral iron in the red rock, which is the rock's predominantly sandstone, there's a lot of quartzite, there is also a lot of limestone. Now, what happens is, in the core of the planet, that's where our Earth's magnetic field is generated. And our magnetic field is a toroid, literally the toroid shape, and there's a lot to that. As the natural geomagnetism exists under Sedona and passes through all of the red rock, it aligns itself, focuses it. So as it's coming up through the rock, it starts to travel in a spiraling action. Now let me back up a little bit. There's another school of thought for that. Sedona was a very volcanic era, millennia ago. There's a lot of lava shafts left, the old tubes where there were vents, and where lava literally came out, they were miniature volcanoes. Now, as that magnetic energy travels up that old solidified lava shaft, there again too, traveling up the tube, it's going to cause it to spin. When it emits out of the Earth, it's already in a spiraling-like action. It's focused, it's concentrated, and it's spinning. Now, physics states, that's called an outflow, by the way, and if you ever hear people talk about outflows and inflows of energy in Sedona, vortex energy, that is due to that spiraling action as it leaves the planet, the surface of the Earth. The laws of physics states that whatever leaves has to reconnect back into the Earth's primary magnetic field. So as it reconnects, that's called an inflow of energy. And I've had all of that validated. Not only do I record it and do I see it, it's been validated by the U.S. Geological Survey. They did what's called an aeromagnetic survey over Sedona, Page Springs, and some of the other surrounding areas. And what that basically is an airplane or helicopter with a large magnetometer connected underneath it, and that measures the magnetic field in any given area. Now, they do that to look for water primarily, because water will distort the Earth's natural magnetic field and create its own signature, so you can tell there's water here, there's water over there. Now, how does that spiraling magnetic energy affect us? That's the big key, because you hear so many people up here talk about, well, you go out and you put yourself in a vortex site and you feel, oh, I don't want to use the term euphoric, but you alter. At that point, anybody that would like to do it or to find reference on it, look up Dr. Michael Persinger up at Laurentia University in Canada. Now, what Dr. Persinger has developed with another gentleman is a device that's a series of solenoids or little coils, and you wear them like on a headband to wrap around the head. And through a computer-generated program, Dr. Persinger injects rotating magnetic fields into the temporal lobes of the brain. He has found certain patterns of rotation of that magnetic energy gives people the feeling that they're in the presence of God, or there's somebody else in the room with them, be it omnipotent. I'm not aware of anybody having negative emotions or negative feelings from it. So what I'm finding is the natural vortex energy that exists in Sedona has the same effect as what Dr. Persinger's synthesized equipment does in a laboratory setting. And his stuff has been validated time and time again. Just as a lot of the people that come up here in the Sedona and they sit on a vortex site, they feel an alteration. Now, through my own personal experiences, what I have found, I use a device made by NeuroSky, portable device for monitoring brain waves out in the field. I will use my equipment to monitor the natural outflowing of geomagnetic energy as it emanates from the ground, at the same time monitoring my brainwave activity. When I am sitting in a outflow of energy, and I've also noticed this with other people, and I want to test some more people with it, I find I feel very uplifted. It affords me the opportunity to take things that are buried deep within, any negative thoughts, and release them. If you wish, release them to the universe. It has that profound of an effect. Now, why is that doing it to me? Is that happening? Dr. Persinger stimulates the temporal lobes of the brain. When you're in a vortex site, there's two schools of thought on that. It's either stimulation of the temporal lobes of the brain by the natural spiraling vortex energy, outflowing energy, or science also knows that in our inner ear fluid are large concentrations of magnetite. Now, magnetite is a magnetized particle. Geese, everybody's seen geese, they know which direction is to fly north in the summertime or springtime, and then to fly south. Well, how are they able to navigate the Earth's magnetic field? That's due to large concentrations of magnetite in their inner ear fluids. So I hypothesize that in Sedona, why natural vortex energy has an effect on us is either being detected direct stimulation into the temporal lobes of the brain, or it's being detected by the concentrations of magnetite in the inner ear fluid, and through other electrical means, electrical impulses will connect up into the brain and we have our experience. So the long and the short of it is, when you are in an outflow of energy, it's good for releasing energy. You project yourself into the universe. Very wonderful feeling. Now, when you're in an inflowing vortex, where it's reconnecting into the planet, I have a little difficulty with them. I laid on a rock one time up on one of the mountains here in a very intense inflow. And I spent maybe about 10 minutes on the rock, and I had all I could do to get off from it. I literally had to roll and push myself up. It was like I was being pulled into the planet. And that makes perfect 100% sense, because when it's inflowing, you're going to have the opposite effect. You're going within rather than projecting out. Fantastic stuff, unbelievable. As a scientist and an electrical engineer, 15 years ago, I would have said, no, it's not possible. Well, it is possible. Lot of benefits to be had up here in this energy. Does vortex energy exist in other parts of the planet? Undoubtedly. More than likely, yes. I haven't been able to take my equipment there to measure it yet, but someday hopefully so. Again, though, that magnetic energy, vortex energy, only exists in Sedona because of the red rocks and the iron oxide. I've monitored in the outlying areas where there is no iron oxide or red rocks, and I don't have that same energy, it disappears. Now, another school of thought. If you do a geological study on the rock and mineral makeup of Sedona, and if you look at the mountains, you can see layers of it. They also know that beneath all of the red sandstone is a huge layer of quartz. And some of that quartzite can be found inside of the red rocks. If you're out walking along the creek, you'll be able to find nodules of quartz crystals. The U.S. Geological Service, when they did their flyover, magnetic flyover, found that they call it the crystalline base. The layer of crystals that are beneath Sedona are generating their own magnetic field as well as distorting the Earth's magnetic field as it emanates and flows outward from the core. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. If you look at a basic transistor, you have a layer of silicon, and then you have two dissimilar types of metals. One is the collector, one is the emitter, and one is the base. If you look at how the geological structure of Sedona is, with limestone as an insulator, iron oxide as a form of conductor on the top of it, and then the crystalline base, silicon, beneath it, you've got one great big huge transistor here also, besides the natural magnetic energy that's emitting. So the whole entire area could literally be an amplifier for thoughts, for emotions. I have found it's a wonderful place to connect to the planet. It's just wonderful. My school of thought, and why I do the research that I do, and what works for me, and I think can work for others too, before you can advance, or if you have issues to work through, or you want to promote world peace, or anything, you first need to be grounded, centered into the planet. Physically, we're part of her. We're part of the universe, stardust. But the more grounded you are to the planet while you're doing your inner work or external work, the more it can be accomplished, because you're centered, you're part of the whole. Again, we'll go back to the toroid. The Earth's natural magnetic field that's circulating around the Earth is in a toroid shape. When you are grounded to the planet, to Gaia, to Mom Earth, you become part of that toroid, part of the center. The human body is surrounded by a toroid. All of our electrical energy will flow in from the base chakra. It'll flow up through the crown chakra and make its way around and back up again. So the whole point of what's going on up here is to connect to source. And once connected to source, you're able to project, you're in balance, you're grounded, whatever term you want to use. Fantastic stuff. Let's break. Because my thoughts are starting to roll on me here a little bit. I'm starting to search for what's the next thing, so.